Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is August 7th, and some teams took a huge step forward, some teams took a huge step back, and we've got a big fight in Cleveland. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today? Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, and we had a huge weekend of baseball, and a lot is going on in the standings right now. Some teams are on big winning streaks, and some teams are on big losing streaks. We'll be going over all of that later on. I know I said on Friday that we'd be doing the Player of the Month today, but just because of the time restraints that I'm on, as well as the amount of things that I want to go over in this episode, I'm going to do it Friday, 100%. I promise. The Player of the Month for July will be done this Friday on the 11th. So that is coming. I did not forget. Do not worry. But we have a lot to do. Another change that I've made really quickly before we dive on in is with our series recap. To save some time, I'm going to start speeding up some of them, especially some of the ones that we shouldn't be caring about as much as we enter the dog days of summer. Teams like the A's and the Tigers, if they had a series, I would kind of just skim through that. If anything interesting happens, obviously we'd go over that. But if it's just some baseball that happens, some players hit home runs, a walk-off or so, I'll just kind of speed through that in a quick one game or one couple sentence going over the whole series as a whole. The only one that will be done in this episode is between the Rockies and the Cardinals. You'll see how that goes. And if you have any comments with that and ways that I should go about that, leave it in the comments section, and I will go over that and see. But for now, we're going to try that out, and we will now dive into our series recap. Alright, leading us off, we've got the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. In last episode, I said this was a must-win series for the Blue Jays. Well, Game 1 had them hit 5 solo shot home runs from Whit Merrifield, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Matt Chapman, Dalton Varsho, and Davis Schneider, who is making his MLB debut and hit his first MLB home run in his very first MLB at-bat for his first hit. Run, RBI, home run. Blue Jays beat the Red Sox 7-3. In Game 2, it was a close game all the way through, but it ends on a blunder from Boston, as with 1 out in the 9th, Reese McGuire, who was on second, thought Connor Wong had just won the game with a ball that was driven to deep left field, but unfortunately for him, the ball was caught by Kevin Kiermaier, who threw out Reese McGuire, who left the bag and was rounding third. He did not tag and got doubled off to end the game. The Blue Jays win it 5-4. And in the final game, Davis Schneider again, he is here. He homers once more. He finishes the night 4 for 5 with a hit by pitch, 4 RBIs. The Jays took the Red Sox to school, and as I said, they needed to win this series. Well, they went out there and swept the Boston Red Sox, beating them 13-1. The Astros and the Yankees now a 4-game set. Starts with a couple of home runs from Giancarlo Stanton and Billy McKinney, but one from Kyle Tucker would tie this game up, and it would stay tied until Anthony Volpe got a base hit to drive in the run that would give the Yankees the win as they take it 4-3. In Game 2, home runs from Yanyer Diaz and Yordan Alvarez led the Astros to even up the series as they would end up winning it 7-3. In Game 3, Jose Altuve hits his 200th career home run as the only Astro run in the game, as the Yankees get bombs from Jake Bauers and Gleyber Torres, leading them to a win as Verlander's first game back with Houston is okay, but Nestor Cortez's first game back from injury is better as he struck out 8 Astros in 4 innings. The Yankees win it 3-1. And the last game, the Astros used 4 home runs from Yordan Alvarez, Martin Maldonado, and Jake Myers with 2 as they beat the Yankees and split the 4-game set 2 apiece, winning it 9-7. The Mets and the Oilers, and in the first game, Jordan Westburg hits his second career home run that would boost the O's offense in the game as they take the opener versus the Mets, winning it 10-3. Game 2, Gunnar Henderson and Anthony Santander hit home runs as the O's score in 6 of the 8 innings and beat the Mets 7-3. And in that final game, the Mets gets blanked as the O's get the 3-game sweep. They beat the Mets 2-0. Rays and Tigers now. In the first game, the Tigers can't touch the Rays pitching as a home run from Jose Siri would help lift the Rays to a win as they take the first game 8-0. Akil Baddoo homers for his 6th of the year as the Tigers get the win versus the Rays to even up the series, beating them 4-2. And in that final game, the rubber match Yandy Diaz, Brandon Lau, and Wander Franco all homer for the Rays as they take the series win versus the Tigers, beating them 10-6. The White Sox and the Guardians. A 2-run home run from Andres Jimenez lifts the Guardians to a win as they would take the opener versus the White Sox, winning it 4-2. And that second game is about one thing and one thing only: the fight between J-Ram and TA7, Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson, as Jose puts Tim to sleep with a right to the face. Despite winning the fight, the White Sox hit 4 home runs in the game and would even the series with a win, beating the Guardians 7-4. Final game tied at 2. The White Sox score 3 runs in the 9th and take the lead, and then hold the Guardians in the top of the 9th as the White Sox beat the Guardians, in the bottom of the 9th, as the White Sox beat the Guardians in the series, and the game, they take it 5-3. The Diamondbacks and the Twins. Game 1, 3 Twins home runs from Jorge Polanco, Max Kepler, and Michael A. Taylor would help the Twins win the opener as they beat them 3-2. In Game 2, the Twins score 12 runs in the game. The Diamondbacks are struggling, and that would continue. The D-backs lose another as the Twins take it 12-1. And in that final game, Christian Walker homers in the 9th to put the D-backs up as they look to win one, but a home run from Max Kepler would tie it back up in the bottom of the 9th, and later on in the inning, a 2-run walk-off home run from Matt Wallner. That completes the Twins' sweep over the D-backs as they get the win 5-3. The Mariners and the Angels would play 4, and what a series this would be in a game where Ohtani hits his 40th home run of the year. The Angels led by 2 in the 9th before Cade Marlowe hits a grand slam to flip the script and the game. The Mariners win the first in a come-from-behind fashion, and with this foreshadow the rest of the series as the Mariners win it 5-3. In Game 2, Ty France, Dylan Moore, Julio, and Kyle Raleigh all homer for the Mariners as they would win another, beating the Halos 9-7. Third game, 2 doubles from Julio would get him 2 RBIs in the game as the Angels fall just short as they lose another one with a score of 3-2. And in that fourth and final game, J.P. Crawford and Teoscar Hernandez homer for the Mariners, but Matt Theis bomb ties it up and sends the game to extras, where the Mariners would get a run on a single from Eugenio Suarez, and then they would hold the Angels as the Mariners come into Angel Stadium and sweep the Los Angeles Angels, beating them 3-2. The Marlins and the Rangers now, and the Rangers would open up this series with a strong performance, beating the Marlins 6-2. In Game 2, Robbie Grossman, Corey Seager, and Josh Jung all homer for those Rangers as they take a nail-biter, winning it 9-8. And in that final game, the Rangers blanked the Marlins while hitting 4 home runs from Nathaniel Lau, Marcus Semien, Ezekiel Duran, and Adolis Garcia as they sweep the Finns, beating them 6-0. The Giants and A's now play a surprising 2-game set here. And in a game where it's the Giants versus the A's, you think the Giants should have won both the games. Instead, they lost the first one 2-1 and then lose the second one 8-6 as the A's get the 2-game sweep over the Giants. Yikes. Royals and Phillies now, the hottest team in the Royals looking for their 7th straight win. Bobby Witt Jr. and Nicholas Castellanos trade off 2-run home runs early. The Royals would add a 2-run single from Darion Blanco as they would find their 7th straight win, beating the Phillies 7-5. Trey Turner's season hasn't gone according to plan, and recently he's been struggling more than usual. In the first game, he received a standing ovation from the Philly faithful to show their support for him despite the struggles, and that must have felt pretty good for him when he hit a 3-run home run in the game to give the Phillies a lead late in the game. That would end up being the difference in the game as the Phillies win to even the series 9-6. In that final game, home runs from Bryson Stott, Kyle Schwarber, and Nick Castellanos led the Phillies to the series win as they beat the Royals 8-4. The Braves and the Cubs, Max Fried back from injury. He pitches a great game as the Braves ride a 7-run 4th inning all the way for the win as they beat the Cubs 8-0. Game 2, the Cubs score 5 in the first inning, including a Dansby Swanson and Yeimer Candelario's home runs. For Candelario, it's his first as a Cub this year. Ian Happ homers late for some insurance as the Cubs even the series with the win, beating the Braves 8-6. And in that final game, Matt Olson hits his 39th of the year, putting him only 1 behind Ohtani. The Cubs score 3 runs in the 5th to take the lead as they would go on to win the game and the series as they beat the best team in baseball 6-4. The Nationals and the Reds get things started with 3 solo shots early from Nick Senzel, Matt McLain, and Ellie De La Cruz, who has his first home run as a right-hander. But home runs from Lane Thomas and Joey Meneses ties this game up and sends it to extras with 3 runs in the 10th inning, including Lane Thomas, his second home run of the game. That's a win for the Nationals as they beat the Reds 6-3. In Game 2, the Nationals score 6 straight runs to start the game and let the pitching hold the Reds as they take another one, beating them 7-3. And in that final game, the Nats score 4 runs in the first inning with the help of home runs from CJ Abrams and Lane Thomas as the Nats get the sweep over the Reds, who are also struggling, beating them 6-3. The Pirates and the Brewers now a 4-game set, and they'll start it off by scoring 3 runs in 4 different innings. A couple of home runs from Bryce Terang and Sal Frelick. The Brewers will win it easily, beating the Pirates 14-1. In Game 2, 4 Pirate bombs. Alfonso Rivas, Henry Davis, Josh Palacios, and Brian Reynolds. That lifts the Buccos. They even the series 8-4. In Game 3, in the 9th, down a run, the Brewers would tie the game up thanks to Sal Frelick, who singles in a run and sends this to extras, where after holding the Pirates, the Brewers rocket off on a single from Blake Perkins as the Brewers take it, winning it 3-2. And in that final game, Endy Rodriguez, Connor Joe, and Brian Reynolds all homer for the Pirates as a good start from Oviedo keeps the Brewers quiet. The Pirates win it and split the 4-game set versus the Brewers, taking it 4-1. The Rockies and the Cardinals in our first ever speed recap. The Rockies take the first game 9-4. The Cardinals take the second one 6-2 to even up the series, and then the Rockies would take the series win as they beat the Cardinals in that final game, winning it 1-0. Moving on now, last one, Dodgers and Padres. The Dodgers score 8 runs in the last 2 innings of the game to put this one out of reach for the Padres as the Dodgers take the opener, beating them 10-5. Second game, the Padres saw what the Dodgers did last night and copied it by scoring 7 runs in the bottom of the 8th to take the lead and hold them in the 9th as the Padres win it over the Dodgers, beating them 8-3. And in that third game, the Dodgers jumped to a quick 6-0 lead with home runs from Ahmed Rosario and Freddie Freeman in the first 2 innings. Mookie Betts later on hit his 30th home run of the year, and the Dodgers would win this game 8-2 with the 4th and final game of this series happening later today. As of right now, the Dodgers have the series 2-1. So that will do it for our series recap, and as I said, I am short on time today, so no game of the weekend, so we'll dive straight into our baseball news, and obviously we're going to Cleveland to talk about the fight. How did it happen? Jose Ramirez, he had driven the ball to right field, took it upon himself to go to second, slid in there safely, and Tim Anderson was there. He applied a hard tag, as it was said later on by Ramirez. And he just got upset. They exchanged some words. Tim Anderson threw his glove, got in a fighting stance, and Jose Ramirez followed him, jumped into that stance as well. Tim went in first, couple swings, some light contact, nothing too hard. Jose Ramirez then just put one right on him and got him on the cheek, and he went over, fell over. Everybody ran in, and then you know how baseball brawls work. But to have that kind of like fighting stance they both had, like that was some stuff that we hadn't seen in a while. We haven't seen a punch like that really since Odor and Bautista back in 2016, 2017 times. So I mean, it's interesting when you get into one of those brawls. I haven't seen anything about suspensions or anything like that yet. I'm assuming they're coming for both Ramirez, Tim Anderson, and maybe a couple other guys. We saw that Eloy Jimenez, he got hurt somehow, or he was there. I think he got stepped on with while the benches were clearing and everyone was in the pile there. We saw a video of him kind of hobble off, limping-ish. But yeah, definitely if you're on Twitter, or I guess X now, or however you get your media and everything, go look at it. Tim Anderson's been tweeting some funny statements, deleting it. He's been all over the place. He's getting clowned on pretty hard. There's a lot of edits on TikTok, and just basically Jose Ramirez is king, Tim Anderson is not. And I mean, when you look at the seasons they've had, Tim Anderson has had a horrendous season. Him and Byers are the worst two hitters in OPS. I mean, yeah, it's not great. There was some news today that came out about the Guardians AAA team, the Lake County Captains. They're having a Jose Ramirez Appreciation Week. All fans named Tim get a free ticket to sit down on the grass. If you wear a Ramirez jersey, you get a free Bam Bam in the cargo hold. They have a punch-out competition. They have a home run punch derby. They're just having a lot of fun with this Jose Ramirez Appreciation Week. And yeah, so there's your fight. Davis Schneider, Blue Jays called him up to play second base, and what a series he had. His first ever series, his first 3 games against the Red Sox. He's the first player in MLB history to have 9 hits and 2 home runs in his first 3 games of his career. I mean, you watch him play, he had a very good series in Boston. He homered in his first ever MLB at-bat, his second swing. You know, good for him. His mustache is incredible. I mean, if you haven't seen a picture of this guy, go look him up. I mean, it's the top 3 mustache in the game for sure, right there with like Nestor Cortez. Yeah, so I mean, Davis Schneider, congrats to him for having a fantastic historical first series with the Blue Jays. We'll see where that goes from there. Does he kind of replace Biggio and Santiago at second base? You know, we'll see how they do it with that second base position. But he was playing second for them all series and had a good series. So good for Schneider. Congratulations to him. Moving on now, I want to go over something that I saw that I thought was pretty interesting, or at least funny. We had 7 sweeps this week. Baltimore Orioles, Toronto Blue Jays, Seattle Mariners, Texas Rangers, Washington Nationals, Minnesota Twins, and the Oakland A's. All swept this weekend, so pretty much half of the league got those sweeps. The biggest ones for me were the Blue Jays sweeping the Red Sox and the Mariners sweeping the Angels. Both of those are like contending teams, all 4 of them. You know, the Blue Jays and Mariners are the better ones. Angels and Red Sox trying to get in there. The Angels to lose 4 straight to the Mariners is an awful look. They have struggled out of the trade deadline. But in general, the red teams have struggled, and I'm saying red teams because the Red Sox, the Reds, the Angels, the Diamondbacks, and the Guardians all are primary colored red, I would say. And they all had losing series this week. The Red Sox, Reds, Angels, and D-backs were all by a sweep, or a sweep. And the Guardians lost 2 of 3 to the White Sox, who, if you're losing to the White Sox, I mean, you know something's wrong. The Guardians, we know they're not really in it for the wild card, but that division is still open. And I mean, the Twins swept the Diamondbacks, so I mean, good for the Twins. But I mean, the Guardians, you got to get in there. Your only way to make the dance is to win the AL Central, and you have to beat the Twins. You have to win games when the Twins lose games. So, I mean, there's that. And if you were a blue team, I mean, you had a very good weekend. The Blue Jays, the Rays won their series. The Dodgers, the Mariners swept. The Rangers swept. The Cubs beat the Braves. And, I mean, the Braves are a red team as well. And to lose 2 of 3, I mean, you're the best team in baseball and you lead your division with the most games. So, I mean, you're still fine if you're the Braves. But, I mean, all those blue teams, primary colored blue teams, you know, Three of them got sweeps. Three of them won their series. I mean, the Dodgers haven't officially won their series yet, but I mean, the worst they can do is split with the Padres, which is still pretty good. The Giants lost to, Padres. You're playing the Padres, so I mean, the Diamondbacks got swept. You're the Dodgers. You're looking pretty good now for the NL West, or at least at this point in the season. We'll look at the standings a little bit later on, but I mean, hey, blue is good, red is bad. I mean, the Reds and Diamondbacks, you guys are slipping, and the Cubs are right there on you guys on the Reds. They've surpassed them in the division standings. They hold a wild card spot now. That's crazy. We'll talk more about that. But yeah, that is that for a little blue good, red bad. Last thing to go over here, we got something called Streaky Teams. I want to go over all these teams who are on winning or losing streaks above 3 games. Obviously, we know about 7 sweeps, so there's already 14 teams. But I mean, it's more than just this weekend. It was even last week. There are some teams who are on 6-game winning and 6-game losing streaks, and that's going to cause a lot of changes in the standings. The Baltimore Orioles, they're on a 4-game winning streak. The Blue Jays, they've won the 3 against Boston, the 3-game winning streak. Boston on a 4-game losing streak. The Twins on a 4-game winning streak. That helps build away from the Guardians. The Rangers and the Mariners. I mean, Rangers on a 6-game winning streak, Mariners on a 5-game winning streak, and then for the Angels, who are on a 6-game losing streak, you just gave the Rangers and Mariners so much ground, especially getting swept in that 4-game set versus the Mariners. I mean, it doesn't look good for them. The Mets, they've lost 6 straight. Obviously, they're kind of out of it. The Nationals won 4 straight. We'd throw those in there, but both those teams really aren't contending no more. The Marlins, though, were contending, and when you were kind of like right there with the Phillies, right there in the wild card mix, to now be on a 4-game losing streak, it doesn't look good for them, and they got to turn it around quick. But you know who else needs to turn it around quick? The Reds and the Diamondbacks. For a good portion of the season now, we've been talking about the Reds doing it, the Diamondbacks doing it. Both of them have been swept in their last 2 series. They're both on 6-game losing streaks. The Diamondbacks have given up a lot of ground now to the Giants and Dodgers and have let the Padres crawl back in on them. And the Reds, I mean, you've slipped away from the Brewers, but not only that, but you have get the Cubs access into the playoffs now. The Cubs, swept in the Reds, and now the Reds just got swept by the Twins. The Reds got swept by the Nationals. The Reds have fallen, and I mean, the starting pitcher ERA in those last 6 games is like 11.25. Like, it has jumped on them. The starting pitching has fallen apart. A lot of these rookies have had horrendous starts, and I mean, at this point now, it's as important as ever for the Reds to get guys like Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo back from injury. They need those pitchers. The Diamondbacks need Zach Gallen to get going. They need their starting pitchers as well. Ryan Nelson and all of them. We talked about it. I mean, starting pitching was a big thing, and when it comes to playoffs and everything, pitching wins you ball games. A good bullpen, a good rotation, that's going to help out. And what the Reds and D-backs had for a lot of the season were guys who they had to call up and use. Rookies, young guys who weren't proven, and they've done a pretty good job at maintaining it. But the thing about that is eventually, you're going to get more video on them. You're going to see how they pitch, and eventually they're going to get turned around, and that's what's kind of happening for these starting pitchers. They need to get it going. So it was important for the Reds and Diamondbacks to make some moves for some starting pitching, and realistically, they didn't get to do as much as that as I think they should have. And now it's kind of backfiring, and we'll see how it slips away from them. Well, I mean, we'll look at the NL wildcard because that's a show, man. Like, it's going to come down to the final week of baseball to see who gets in and who doesn't. And I mean, realistically, one of those 2 teams, if not, I don't see a world where both the Reds and Diamondbacks win the division unless the Brewers start falling off, the Cubs start falling off, Phillies go down. Like, it'll be interesting going into the last month of baseball to see where teams are at. But those are some streaky teams for you there. A look now at our outstanding performances of the weekend. Max Fried back and healthy, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 8 Ks. Good for him. Brandon Woodruff, 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, and 9 Ks. Chris Bassett, 7 innings pitched, 7 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Johan Oviedo, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Bryce Miller with the Mariners, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 10 Ks. And then Chase Silseth, 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 12 Ks with your Halos. That's going to do it for your outstanding performances. All right, and now a look at our standings check, a little update here. The Oilers still are in first place in the AL East, the only the only AL team with 70 wins. They're 3 games up on the Rays and 7.5 on the Blue Jays. Boston, after losing 4 straight, are last place now as the Yankees are half a game above them. All 5 with positive run differentials, so good for them there. The Twins, after winning 4 straight, are still first in the AL Central, now 5 games above 500, while the Guardians are 4 games below 500 and are 4.5 games back on the Twins there, 8.5 on the wild card, so yikes there. On the AL side of things, the AL West side of things, the Rangers still in first with the Astros on their tail at 2.5 games back. The Mariners 6 games back, and the Angels now 10.5 games back. Yikes! If you're a Halos fan, they're 1 game below 500, and if they keep playing this way, everyone's gonna wonder if they should have traded Shohei Ohtani. I mean, the fact that they didn't, they have to make playoffs because otherwise it is devastating if you're a Halos fan. On the NL side of things now, the NL East, the Braves, the other baseball team with 70 wins with Baltimore. They're 10.5 game lead over the Phillies and a 14 game lead over the Marlins. So, the Braves, I'll say it every time, they're probably going to be the first team to clinch a postseason spot. They're playing the best and have the best division lead. The NL Central, though, the Cubs are now tied for second with the Reds. The Cubs are 58 and 54. The Reds are 59 and 55. So the Reds have played 2 extra games, won 1 and lost 1. But the Cubs are in the driver's seat. They're 7 and 3 in their last 10, while the Brewers and Reds are 3 and 7 in their last 10. The Brewers a game and a half above both the Cubs and the Reds there. So that NL Central just joined in a new competitor in the Cubs, as they have been playing a wonderful brand of baseball. I can't talk right now. They have been the best second half team so far, and the reason that they are now tied for second in the NL Central and also tied for that last wildcard spot. We'll dive into that. The NL West, the Dodgers are 4 games now above the Giants, 8.5 above the Diamondbacks, and 10 games above the Padres. The Diamondbacks, after losing 6 straight, are now 57 and 56, 1 game above 500. And the Padres right there at 55 and 57, 2 games under 500, and only a game and a half back of the Diamondbacks. And if you're the Diamondbacks, the last thing you want is to be in 4th place in that NL West, because then it's wild, like uh-ohs. Looking at that NL wild card now, the Phillies had the first spot, Giants have the second spot, and then the Cubs and Reds are tied for that 3rd spot. The Marlins half a game back. Diamondbacks a game and a half back. The Padres 3 games back. You've got a battle there. 7 teams will be fighting for 3 spots. And that's going to go down to the last week of baseball. I can already tell you it's going to be the biggest race we'll see in wildcard-wise in a long time. So we'll see what happens there, but there you go for the NL wildcard side. On the AL side, the Rays are in first place there, Astros second, and the Jays maintain that 3rd spot. Mariners 2.5 back, Yankees 4.5 back, Red Sox 5, Angels 7, Guardians 8.5. So the Angels, you are 7 games back. That's your best chance. You have to start climbing. Cannot afford to lose any more games. The Guardians, you're 8.5 back. Your best chance, and realistically, your only chance is that division. So go get the Twins. Boston, Yankees, Seattle, you 3 have to play good and hope that one of the Rays, Astros, or Jays start to slip. It's going to be a battle here going to the end, the last 2 months of the season here. But that is good to do it for your standings check. Lastly, here we'll take a look at the upcoming series for this week of baseball. It starts with the Game 4, Dodgers and Padres. We'll go over that quick. But now in terms of the new series, we have the Astros and the Oilers. Circle that series. That's a fun one. Cardinals at Rays, Royals at Red Sox, Yankees at White Sox, Blue Jays at Guardians, Twins at Tigers, Rangers at A's, Padres at Mariners. That is a very fun series that you can circle. Giants at Angels, another good one there. Nationals at Phillies, Cubs at Mets, Marlins at Reds. Circle that series. Little wild card battle there. Braves at Pirates, Rockies at Brewers, and the Dodgers at the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks, you host the Dodgers now. You got to go, and you got to go quickly. That is going to do it for this episode today. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. I will see you guys Friday for our July Player of the Months, as well as the series that we just announced, talking more baseball than ever before. I don't know what I'm saying here. Thank you, everybody, so much, and I will see you all on Friday.